Hey, it's 2025. I feel like we haven't caught up in a while. These are some things that I've been doing to usher in a new year and open up as many timelines of love and liberation, expanding into all the little dreams that live inside my heart. This is my comprehensive New Year reset. I love somatic healing because it's solving problems at the level of the heart and the body versus just at the level of the mind. So this is a simple thing I like to do when I feel really overwhelmed emotionally or like I've just been holding a lot. I take a moment to tune into my body and sit in the sobering truth of what I feel. And then I start shaking, and I sometimes use my hands in this motion to imagine myself pushing and releasing any dense energy down into the earth from the crown of my head to the tips of my toes. You can visualize chakras being cleansed or different colors and really emphasizing the exhale. Sometimes I'll howl and moan when I do this, and I do it until I feel I've actually released something, and then begin the opposite, inhaling potent life force energy from the earth and breathing it into my body, clearing every single one of my energy points and filling me with light. And you can also do more of that rhythmic shaking and breathing with this as well. Shaking is so good for releasing stored trauma and also just inviting some energy in. If you've been feeling stagnant throughout the day, I feel completely neutralized after doing this practice for just 10 minutes alone. Also, when I'm working out regularly, my body and my muscles crave the movement, are excited to be used, and I love feeling myself getting stronger every week. I used to push myself really intensely at the gym, but the workouts that I feel like I can sustain throughout most of the month is Pilates and dance workouts. So I am starting a new challenge from Pilates with Nicole. She has these month-long challenges where you do a video every day, and it's just a really accessible way to work out at home on your mat without needing anything else. And also, if you are into yoga but don't have the time or money to get yourself into a studio, something that I like to do, especially on busy days, is just fall into some sun salutations, because there's so many poses in a simple sun salutation, and I feel well stretched, I feel in close connection to my body, and I'm not having to overthink what kind of sequence I'm doing. I'm just breathing, and there's one breath per movement. It's a very reliable therapy, and similarly, I always have music playing. I am always curating some sort of playlist for one of my various moods, and my favorite way to find new music is one while doing other things, so I have the patience to listen to whole albums or songs through, but I really like to create radios from artists that I already like or go to recommended from playlists that I love, and just going down those kinds of wormholes. How frequently I'm dancing throughout the day really tells me a lot about my mental state. I feel like whenever I have a good playlist, it's so much easier for me to embody that giddy joyfulness for life, so it's really important to me. Another way I like to invoke that alive feeling deep in my body is through literally any form of self-pleasure, whether that's lotionizing after the shower or just being naked alone in my space. There's so much intimacy in that alone. It's just seeing your body in a neutral, beautiful light for no one else's consumption. And because I've been on my celibacy journey, I've been gifting myself a lot of orgasms, and it really does feel like a gift to bring myself to that peak of pleasure, taking my time, doing it exactly how I want, and filling it with affirmations and just my innocent desires. When I'm alone self-pleasuring, it really does feel like a ceremony and a time for me to sort of heal any blockages that I have sexually. It just naturally happens that way, where if there's a shameful thought that comes up or something that feels judgmental about the way that I look or the way that I sound, I'm fully there to nurture it and love it back to neutrality. One way to invoke your life force is to treat yourself to the Enigma Double Sonic, a luxurious new A-spot vibrator made at the highest possible safety standard that allows you to explore hidden depths using deep sonic technology to reach new levels of pleasure. And if you happen to be far from your lover, you can now try Love Bridge, a special new feature that will bring your long distance relationship even closer by seamlessly switching controls with the Laylo app in real time so they can control your pleasure, which is such a fun and sexy way to share intimacy even from afar. This is designed to stimulate the A spot, a sensitive area on the front vaginal wall. It gives you a different kind of pleasure. Like this little vibration suction thing here, when I feel it inside of me, it just amplifies that fiery intensity inside. This app also has pleasure modes like finish me off, which slowly builds you up, and out of control, which provides a tailor-made experience for a wild orgasm that you can't predict. If you want to indulge in exciting pleasure with Laylo, click the link below to unlock deals up to 50% off. Plus use my code Hitomi15 for an additional 15% off your next purchase. I love how you can stack discounts and how high quality their toys are. You won't regret adding them to your Rolodex, okay? For some reason, when I conceptualize my dream life, I imagine myself making an entire apothecary of beauty care at home with things from my garden, and I'm implementing that now in very little ways. It is a little bit more cost effective and just feels better. Everything we're putting on our skin gets absorbed into our body, and I'm not completely anti-chemicals because some of them can be really beneficial and practical for us. I use hyaluronic acid moisturizer, I use tretinoin at night, and these things have really helped my skin. One aspect of my health that I've been taking a more holistic approach to is hair health, and this is one of my glow up focuses in 2025 that I've already started. So I just wanted to show you how to make my favorite rosemary hairspray. I have one that I use when I'm traveling, which is amazing. I spray this in my hair every time after I shower, but since I've been more of a homebody, it's really easy to make at home and stimulate that hair growth and keep those hair follicles nice and clean and unblocked. I have been loving rice water and moisturizing my ends. So these are the main components of my hair health, and I have already noticed that my baby hairs have grown out so much. It's honestly insane to see because they've always been at a certain length, just kind of like 1/2 an inch around my face, but now they look like almost face framing layers because of how much they've grown through these different methods. And I've been doing a lot of research on hair health. There's nothing you can do to make your hair grow faster, but you can prevent your hair from growing slower by supplementing, by unclogging those hair follicles, and preventing split ends from breaking and causing continual damage to the bottom so your hair always seems like it's staying the same length. Like, you can basically optimize your body's natural ability to grow hair, but you can't necessarily speed up the process. So this rosemary hairspray, start by boiling a big pot of water, take it off the heat, give it a moment, and then add in the rosemary. I cover it with the lid and let it sit until the color has changed, and I'll strain it out, put it into a jar, and use it for about a week or 2. I keep this in the fridge and put it in a spray bottle for use on my roots every time I get out of the shower. And another thing I really like to do to nourish my roots and the proteins of my hair is this rice water. It's really simple, but you're just gonna want to rinse some sushi rice and take some time to release that like glucose looking thing from the rice, and then strain it and pour it into a jar. Leave it to ferment for about a day and then put it in your fridge. I like to soak my hair for about 10 minutes with this once a month. So once the rods are removed, I'm just shaking out the curls, loosening them up a bit, and just look at this volume. So you guys know I used to love using my singular hair rod where I'd put it on the top of my head and roll my hair around it. These are incredible because they give you the opportunity of creating volume at the crown. This top one, this crown bunch here, lifts so much, and I just love the look of it. You can see there's a bounce where I have really fine, thin Asian hair, and it is just slick to my head. Like, I genuinely feel like on most days with oily hair, I look like an egghead and there's no volume. So this is revolutionary for me, and yeah, I'll put a little bit of serum in my hair. One of these two, these have been my absolute favorite, and my hairstylist recently told me that I should be moisturizing my ends just as much as I moisturize my face because of the lifestyle I live where I'm constantly jumping into ocean water and I'm in the sun. You know, it's just a lot of exposure to the elements. So she was like, every single day, use a serum, moisturize those ends. And so I've been doing that. And if I really wanted these curls to stay intact, I would do a little bit of hairspray, but I just try to use as little products that could get to my roots as possible. I also don't use dry shampoo anymore. Give you a 360 view because it deserves it. This really does give such a big blowout kind of look, and over time it'll just fall throughout the day and have an even more natural look to it, a very subtle curl. So that is my new method. Shout out to these. Recreating these curls is really simple. Wrap your hair around the rod and then roll it towards your face, bending it and clasping it in the back. For each one of these rollers, you'll do the same thing, just roll it towards your face, but you can also experiment. This is just the method I have found gives that blowout look, and I will sleep with these in my head, usually with a scarf wrapped around to help them keep their place, and they're pretty comfortable in my opinion. They're easier than my other method. Next, I wanted to show you how I keep my skin really soft, and it's simply just mixing sugar with grapeseed oil, and I keep this by my shower. I'll exfoliate once a week, and I love doing this a day or, the same day that I shave so that all of my dead skin is off, and it makes my skin so soft. It's definitely a really thick oil, so I'll usually wash this off with soap after I have exfoliated my whole body, and those are some really simple apothecary things that I always have around. Something that keeps me feeling so energetically protected and safe is knowing exactly where I stand in my relationship to God or spirit, as well as in my relationship with myself, my ego, my friends. It's like, okay, what are my beliefs? How exactly am I advocating for them? And also, what season of life am I in? And what kind of support do I need? What is my priority and focus going to be? And this can look like, okay, I just need people that I can do nothing with because I'm not in an active stage where I want to go out and party and meet people and travel. I just want to cope with my life and co-regulate together. That's something that I can communicate. Or if you're on the other end of the spectrum, also romantically, it's like, what am I actually available for? Am I in a dating season? Am I open to having casual hookups? Am I trying to be monogamous, non-monogamous? Just having your sort of groundwork in your head so that you can advocate for it and clearly identify when that is not what people are offering to you and say, no, thank you, like so much love, but that's just not what I'm looking for, and tailor your life to your needs. And this is really important because it is easy to unconsciously slip into relationships that you don't actually want to be in or that you're not fully ready for simply because it's convenient or comfortable or it feels good, even if you're actually not in the place at all to show up for the responsibility of a relationship or have time to give your energy to another person in that way. So just knowing exactly where you are, clocking it, and just being like, well, let me not even go on a date or indulge this energy knowing that I can't follow through it all. And if you are in a stage of setting boundaries, something that's really helpful for that is doing an activity together when you bring up a heavier conversation, even sitting back to back and being outside at a park and being like, hey, let's sit back to back and lean on each other. So I've been meaning to tell you about this thing, and this relationship is so important to me, and that's why I want to voice this, because it made me feel really weird. It was such a small thing, but I felt really sad after, so I just wanted to share it with you because I thought maybe you'd be curious. What would feel really good for me in these kinds of circumstances is if, and then state your boundary just like that. That's just a really easy way to kind of like keep the focus clear. It's not them that did something to you. Something happened, it didn't feel right. This is what I'm inviting. Clear, it's clean. If they emotionally react, so that's literally on them. And also going on walks, going on a hike, doing any activity while having an important conversation, especially setting boundaries, takes the pressure off and alleviates so much more stress than just like eye gazing and being like, we have to talk. Also avoid sending out those messages because that is so anxiety inducing. And for me, something I've struggled with is it always takes me a really long time to process when something has felt uncomfortable. Sometimes I disassociate when something's happening that is like really intense for me and I act so normal and fine, and then it'll take me weeks to be like, oh my god, that hurt so bad, and now I have resentment over it, and now I'm realizing I have so many examples of this kind of behavior with this person, and I just feel like it's going to come out in a really intense way because it's been so brushed under the surface, and I'm like having this awakening about how much this hurts. That happens to me a lot. It is okay to be like, this thing happened months ago and I'm still thinking about it because that's how much it affected me. And I just feel like anyone who would not be able to hold that or think that that's too intense, that's just not someone that I can have in my life, because there is nothing wrong with being super tender and vulnerable and sensitive when you are mature about it, because there is a version of that that's just like blaming other people, being so sensitive that all of your triggers are everyone else's fault versus just something that you're sensitive about. There's a really big distinction of setting a boundary, sharing a feeling without making someone else to be wrong. Both people are probably right. The universe of their mind is giving them this information of how to act, how to react, what the value system is. Sometimes the value system is different. And so boundaries to me isn't just having someone be held accountable for hurting me and them knowing that they did a bad thing. It's actually just, can our value systems align, and can your world of emotions and mine be safe for one another? You know, some people are just naturally more rough and abrasive around the edges, but they're not bad people just because that doesn't feel good for you. You're just really sensitive, and you need people in your life who are going to be able to hold that and respect your sensitivity and see the beauty and magic in it. There's a lot there. We're not here to condemn one another, prove our righteousness over another. We're here to love each other better. This past New Year's, I spent hours and hours journaling. I had so much to reflect on, and I don't really like to set intentions that are completely unrealistic. I really like to take all the information of the previous year and reveal to myself the areas that could use a little bit more love, or the ways I'm excited to treat my various neurosis in all the different areas. Like if I lacked focus, okay, let's not pretend I'm going to be so good at cultivating focus in my life, but these are the things that are going to help me. So I have little intentions for that, or I'll have things I'm excited for, affirmations, and here are some of my, financial goals and breakdowns. And I just really like to create pragmatic structure with my intentions. And these are some other journaling prompts that I would love for you to invite in your journal that will maybe hold you into some beautiful thoughts or prayers. I wanted to make a really quick section about financial stability and finances. I'm not very proficient in this subject matter, but I'm really passionate about it. At the beginning of every year, I really like to look at all the areas that I'm wasting my money and overspending and be really real with myself about it. A lot of the times it is like clothes, Depop. I take a good look at all my subscription services. That alone feels really empowering because spending less enables you to save more. And I have a financial advisor who takes 0.05% of everything he invests for me. I would love to learn more about investing my own money this year. There are so many different platforms. One that I'm thinking of right now is Acorn, that really easily invests change that you have into different stocks or bonds, and also just Robinhood, having a Roth IRA with Fidelity or Vanguard. These are really basic financial things that can help you, and really easy ways to invest your money that's like really inactive. You can just put it in there and kind of let it do its thing and choose the main stocks you want to invest in and just let them take their course. I feel like it's a really gentle way to save and invest money. What you can do for yourself is make a little financial plan. How much do you need to survive? Calculate that. Put that number down. How much do you need to survive? How much do you want for leisure? What is your dream income? Make a simple list of potential ways you can do that. Other side hustles that you're open to doing, or other ways to save, investments that could have a really big yield. Maybe that's in sharing an apartment with someone that you can rent out as a filming set or an art studio, community offerings or retreats you could host, just different ways to increase your income that actually feel exciting to you. Doing donation-based yoga classes every other month or every other day. And maybe all of this extra income that you make on your side hustles could go into a savings for a specific investment or having just an emergency fund so that you feel really secure going and moving through the world. Open yourself up to as many different resources as you can to learn more about money, because it is possible for you to feel differently about money, to approach it in a different way, and it doesn't necessarily require you having tons of money. You can feel more aware, more safe, more secure about how the world works. Family, for example, that's an area where I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm unexpectedly needing to send out this money to help my family. I'm happy to do it, but it also feels like confronting because it's an unexpected sum that I'm sending over. So what I've reframed that as in my mind is I'm actually going to create an emergency fund for the rest of my family. Instead, I'm going to plan that over time, and probably more and more frequently, my family is going to need financial support. And then I take it a step further to, okay, God, I see why I've been so lucky to have financial abundance in my life and why I've always had a good karmic relationship with money. It is so that I can take care of the people that I love and put it in the right places. So please continue to bring me this abundance and ease in this way, because I'm listening deeply and I know it's not about me and my path. I'm so here to move it through into the places that it needs to go. I'm a trusted vessel for this abundance. I want the universe to know that I can be trusted making tons and tons of money, having a lot of abundance, because it's not about the dollar amount to me. It's about the time that I can spend not worrying, the time I can spend with my family, keeping the people that I love healthy and well. And it is a resource versus just this like endless commodity that proves my worth. It's completely different. It's a tool, and having that kind of conversation with spirit and just like with the way that I'm going to move through the world and operate and navigate money makes it so that I'm not grasping for it. Even when I was completely broke, by the way, I was never feeling like I hated money or like money was evil, even though it can be used for the most terrible things. I just knew, okay, this is an energy. I have to align myself and my priorities to get money so that I'm not in survival. Very pragmatic, and I somehow was always able to make my rent. Even if I had $0 on my account the night before, I would sell like tons of stuff on my Depop and make enough for rent. I just think that it can be really miraculous, and I like the idea of like opening yourself up to money as a blessing and just as this like other rhythm of life of, I don't know, things coming and going, just the impermanence. Like it is really scary to imagine losing literally everything, but it's so possible, and it keeps me feeling unattached to it. It keeps me feeling like, let me just move it through to keep the energy and frequency of money feeling pure and aligned with my ethos and just flowing through. Keep it in the flow. And the last thing that I'll say about this is to every single year, write your dream income amount. Even if it's an absurd amount, write that down. Maybe it's even on your altar, and just imagine what it would feel like to receive it. Write down what you would do with that abundance. Something that, you know, in The Secret, which is a book / movie about the law of attraction, this guy wrote a check for $1 million for himself, and he didn't sign it, but he knew one day he would be able to cash it. And every single day he'd walk around the world feeling like, oh, I have a check coming in my account that's $1 million. Like, I'm so abundant, I'm so taken care of, I'm a millionaire, I have all this money coming into my account, probably thinking about all the things he would do with it. And eventually, of course, he got to that point where he made $1 million. But you would walk around feeling like, no, it's going to be okay. Like, I'm just going to keep trying, and I have money on the way, so I'm secure. And the last thing I wanted to share was the incredible ability we all have to absorb beauty in this world and to fill our world, all of our senses, with forms of love and inspiration and softness. It's really easy to get involved in some of the heavier, denser aspects of life, and I think that that is necessary, and it's great to be informed about what's going on, but it is so welcome for you to balance all of that heaviness out with media of your own choosing, media that makes you feel safe in your heart and your nervous system, trying to keep a balance and knowing that your little moments of joy are also valid. But thank you for being here with me and choosing this media in your life. I appreciate you so much. I can't wait to see you soon. And I hope you have some deep belly breaths over the next few days.